What's happening, y'all? This is the Bald Kid Nostalgic, and this is SlickBlast RapCast. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. We have a special guest repping Queens, New York, and pretty hyped to talk to him. He's another MC that's been doing this thing for a long time. Bobby J From Rockaway. Was just adjusting my camera stand. It's a little goofy at the moment, but we're gonna make it work. What's going on, brothers? Much love to everybody. What's up, Dave? Much love to you. And so we'll get it started in a few minutes. Bobby J From Rockaway, repping Queens, and he has a new song out featuring Joey Bags. We'll talk a little bit about that track, and then we'll definitely go back into the virtual DeLorean, and we'll talk his history as well. All right. So what I'll do is I will send Bobby J an invite. Okay. See how I can do this. Well, actually, if Bobby could send a request, let me see, because I'm trying to send an invite on my end. All right. Much love to everybody once again. Kuhuna, much love, brother. Hope all is well. All right, here we go. All right. Oh, make sure the volume is copacetic and he can hear me. All right.
Yo,
what's going on, brother? How are you, man? Salute.
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good, my brother. Blessed, man. You know, above ground and another day of breathing, you know?
Same here, man. Hold on. Let me just turn you up a little bit. Your volume went down a little bit when I went live. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Are you good? Can you hear me good, or you want me to raise it up?
If you could turn it up just a little bit, because you were loud when I was watching the video. Now that I joined, you're just like a little bit lower, so I want to make sure I hear you.
Okay. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. Oh, wait, man. I want to welcome you to SlickBlast RapCast. Thank you for being on with us, brother. Thank you for taking the time to be on with us.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And as I like to do with every guest, it's only right to show love and respect. So I want to give you your virtual flowers as we're physically here because, you know, we're living in crazy times, man. So I think it's important to acknowledge in the present, you know, what all these MCs have been doing, including yourself, to contribute to the culture. So I want to thank you, man, and for doing your part to contribute, man, and preserve this culture that we love, right?
Hey, man, thank you. I mean, you know, if it wasn't for people like you listening and caring about what I was doing, you know, then I'd be doing it for nothing. So I really appreciate that. But it's really about guys like you and people that listen to the music and care enough for me to keep wanting to put music out, you know. So thank you.
No, my pleasure, brother. So you're from Queens, correct? You're from New York.
Yeah, I'm from Rockaway Beach, Queens.
Nice. Okay, so born and raised, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you're pretty much, so you're from that era. I mean, we've both obviously been inspired from that boom bap era, and I love the fact that that's the beauty of hip hop, man. That influences come in, and then you could kind of create your own flavor, and then just bring it out to the world. You know, that's the best thing about it. You know,
for sure. Yeah, man. Queens is like, you know, just the borough of Queens is such an iconic place. You know, just in terms of rap. So many MCs that inspired me came out of here. And like, you know, I always tell people like the reason the Rockaway's in my name is because, you know, everybody knows Flushing, everybody knows Queensbridge, everybody knows Hollis, everybody knows Jamaica, Corona, the MCs that came out of there. But, you know, as far as Rockaway's concerned, like the people in the know only know maybe 3 to 4 rappers that came out of here. So it's important for me to, you know, be a representative of like the new school and shed some light on my neighborhood, you know, make people that may not be aware of what's going on out here, both past and present. So, you know, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So before we get, as I like to say, before we get into the virtual DeLorean and go back in time to pretty much, you know, we could talk about the foundation and the essence of how you started MCing. Let's talk about this song. The gentleman's name is Joey Bags, correct? You just recently came out with a banger.
Yeah. Me and Joey have known each other for about 3 years. I met him through this song that I did with this producer named Kenny Buttons.
Okay.
And we met on the video shoot. Just really nice guy, like just got along really well. And like from there, we just had a working relationship. You know, I've probably been on 3 or 4 of his records at this point. And what's funny is he just put out an EP called 4 for More with a production group called Straight Bangers. And I had actually put out a single with them a couple months ago called Really for Queens, though. And he heard that, linked up with them, and that's how their project came together. So they did that record as well. And he's just like, between him and this kid, Michael Fire, like those are my 2 favorite, you know, new artists that are like kind of in the same, you know, realm as me, like just building their fan base, trying to get, you know, climb the ladder. And to me, like Joey's super unique. He's got a really unique flow. He doesn't sound like anybody else.
Right.
And I just like the type of music that he's making because it's reminiscent of like the stuff that I grew up on, but he also elevates and keeps it current, which is like what I try to do. So I just respect what he does.
Definitely. And that's a beautiful thing, man, right? When you have chemistry with somebody where it just kind of flows naturally and you don't really have to do much, right? It's almost like it just comes natural. So
yeah, for sure, man. It's like, you know, I send him something, he turns it around immediately. He sends me something, I try to turn it around immediately. And I'm just watching what he's doing, and I'm a fan of his music, you know?
Definitely. I love it, man. I love it. Pretty dope song, actually. Just got to peep it a couple days ago. So,
Thank you.
So congratulations, congratulations on the collaboration with the Grammy, the 2-time Grammy winner, Daru Jones. That's a special project, man. And you got to be proud of that.
Proud of that. And, you know, Daru's just another, you know, it's weird how things happen. Like, you know, we have a mutual friend by the name of Sean. Sean's actually, I think Sean's in here. Shout out to Shawnee Pizza. I think he's in the chat. But Sean's somebody from my neighborhood.
Definitely. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to who I see. I see Torio. I see Triborough Gigolo. I see Illegal Funk, Shawnee Pizza. Shout out to everybody in the chat. But yeah, Sean has always been somebody that's been like a champion of what I've been doing, and took on, like, you know, any role he could to help me out. You know what I'm saying? He linked me with Statik. You know, any time that he could be a middleman to, you know, kind of introduce me to anybody, he would do it. And I actually did a show with Daru maybe. Hold up, am I losing you? You hear me? Oh yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I thought you lost me for a second. So we did a show together at this place, the Blue Note, and it was Daru, it was my boy Chauncey, a keyboardist by the name of Boram Lee, and a bassist by the name of Nate. Shit, why am I forgetting his last name? Fuck, I'll remember in a few. But
yeah, you're gonna remember when this is done.
yeah. So it was like this. They were doing I don't want to say a tribute, but a celebration of classic Preemo and J Dilla B-sides. So they were doing these like instrumental versions on stage, and they had asked around like if any rappers wanted to come perform. So my boy Sean hit me up. This was probably a couple hours before they were actually going to take the stage, and I went. I met Daru basically at the rehearsal at this spot in Queens. And he was just playing drums, and I immediately walked in, kind of caught the vibe of what was going on, started rhyming. It felt right, and probably 2 hours later, we were on stage. And then that one night turned into 2 nights. And on the second night, I drove him back to his hotel where he was staying at in Brooklyn. And, you know, like he basically was like, we should work together. We should do some songs together. And, you know, in my experience, 9 times out of 10, that's just like, usually artist to artist, it's like exchanging pleasantries. Like, you don't really know if that's ever going to happen. It's just like, yeah, we'll work together.
It's casual, right? It's mostly casual when that happens, right?
Yeah. So maybe 6 months later, he calls me and he's like, yo, I'm going to be in New York. I booked a studio session. Let's do an album. Ooh. And I was like, okay. You know, I was like, I had no time to prepare really. It was just like, all right, I'll be there, you know?
Yeah.
And I was lucky because up until that point, I was really just building up like my Rolodex of rhymes and doing a series called Breakfast Bars where I was doing like these weekly freestyles every week. So I would, you know, I would jack beats from the 90s or like other genres and rap over it, do my own videos.
Right.
And that's kind of what got like the ball rolling with, you know, me kind of getting back into music. And I had a large Rolodex of stuff that I couldn't really use because it was over other people's shit. So I at least had some, you know, back catalog preparation because, you know, I walked in the studio and the project was simultaneously like the easiest project I ever did.
Really?
And the hardest because we probably did it in what amounted to 2.5 studio sessions. And he would literally go in the room. He'd be like, all right, like, what kind of beat you want me to do right now? And, you know, I'd probably throw out like a classic break loop or a classic kind of zone that I wanted him to be in. Like, you should make something like this. And then he'd lay it down in 1 or 2 takes. And then he'd be like, all right, what do you have for it? I'd lay down a verse. He'd go right back in, record another drum break. And it was just like hot potato. Like, you just pass it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And, you know, over the course of 2 days, we did what became a whole album. And, you know, it's crazy. Like you said, he's got 2 Grammys. You know, he's toured the world with Jack White.
Yes.
He's in 13 with Pharoah Monch and Marcus Machado.
Yep.
He did SNL recently. Like, he's a jack of all trades, man. He's probably the most
versatile,
one of the most humble people, nicest people I ever met, and just the most hardworking too, man. Like, he's always doing something. And he's actually on a couple songs on a new project that I have coming out, which I don't know if you want to discuss that now, but we've been working. He's working on some stuff that I'm a part of. So
absolutely, let's talk about it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so I'm working on an album, and it's kind of crazy how everything ties into each other because Daru's originally from Detroit, right?
Oh, word. Okay.
And
Midwest guy, much love.
Yeah,
okay.
So he's from Detroit, and I'm actually working on an album with an artist out of Detroit by the name of Hush, who's been heavy in the scene in Detroit for over 20 years. And we're doing an album called 718-2313, which is like a meeting of New York and Detroit hip hop.
Right.
So it was just ironic that through me, you know, and I'm not even from Detroit, I was able to bring him in onto this project. And, you know, the songs that he's on are crazy. The people from Detroit that are on the songs with us is crazy. So, you know, we just have a great relationship, and it's really cool, like what it snowballed into, you know what I mean?
And that's super dope, man. For the simple fact that you know, you're a New York guy, and then you got you know, obviously legends from New York and legends from Detroit, the Dillas, you know, the Black Milks. We can go on and on, right? Where's the 5'9", obviously the usual guys, but the fact that you guys can mesh, you can be from Alaska, he can be from Krypton. It's the fact that you guys have the same concept in your mind, and it's naturally just gonna work. So I like the fact that different coasts can come together. It's always a beautiful thing when that happens, because it's universal either way, right? It's always universal.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, the album the album started out, you know, kind of at the beginning of the whole pandemic situation. So
okay.
there really wasn't a clear vision of what it was going to be. Like, it literally started with, you know, we did one record turned into 3, which turned into 4, and then it just became an album. And the whole concept of the 718-2313 came about because, you know, I look at both areas, like they're both regions influence each other.
Absolutely.
So when I look at Detroit, like me as a young kid, I was heavily into Royce. I was heavily into Eminem. I was heavily into Dilla, Slum Village, LSI.
Yep.
You know, huge fan of, you know, Black Milk, Guilty Simpson, those guys, and just their scene in general. And what's crazy is they have a real underground lyrical rap culture out there. Yes, and you can tell that those guys we're all growing up listening to the New York shit.
Right.
So those guys came up, you know, listening to the Kanes, Rakims, Big Daddy Kane, so Cool G Raps. So, you know, there's a cross influence there, and that's kind of what became like the backbone of the album. It's just, you know, we're from different cities, but we're both making, you know, real hip hop. So I'm just excited to put that together. That's done. You know, we're just getting like the artwork and videos and stuff together, but that should be out probably top of 2022.
Okay. So that's coming pretty soon, man. You know, time flies. So that's we're looking forward to that for sure. And again, man, that Tell 'Em track. I mean, the whole album was fire for me. The Dawid Jones and You album, that Tell 'Em track. I just love the upbeat. It had the Roots vibe, you know, live instrumentation. You just being hype on the mic, and you guys just had a kinetic connection. It was just natural, man, and I loved it. It's just positive. It's upbeat, and it's just raw hip hop at its purest form, in the New York essence of it. So, and I like that. You know, we got to keep that going, man. It's important.
Yeah, man. Like the album, and again, like that's what was so crazy about the Daru album is we literally went into the studio with no real direction of what we wanted to do, and we decided, like, since it's just a, you know, drums and a rapper, let's make it as stripped down as possible. Like, I want people, even from the way it's engineered, and this dude Kaio did it. Shout out to Kaio.
Shout out to Kaio.
The way it was engineered, I explained, like, I want this to be like you're experiencing it in like a hole in the wall club, and somebody's just on the drums and somebody's rapping. Like, so much hip hop music now is just overproduced, you know, down to the vocals, the way the beats sound, like it's too polished, it's too perfect.
Yeah.
You know, that real like grimy raw hip hop sound is unpolished. You know, so I wanted it to sound a little rough around the edges. So, you know, it was different. It was definitely a departure from other shit I've done, because I tend to be more of like a perfectionist when I'm working on my own stuff or working on other people's beats. But it worked, man. That's like everyone who listens to that album kind of says the same thing. Like, they love just how simple it is, you know?
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned that part, because now I'm visually thinking of the quality, like that cassette quality where it was grainy, that basement, like just in your uncle's basement with the vinyl and just the dirty, like the dirty griminess of it, the level of that. I like that. Like you said, the whole perfect and clear. That doesn't always work, you know? So I love that authentic aspect with the approach that you guys were doing with that record, you know?
For sure, man. Hold on, let me just shout out a couple of people. What up, Beatbox?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Greg, I know Greg's in here. Hold on, let me see who's in here.
Mr. Dead, what up, Mr.
Yo,
Dead?
Lou, what up? Black Surfing Rockaway, what up? Clown Car, what up?
I like that. I like that Clown Car. It reminds me of The Simpsons for some reason. And if anybody has questions for the brother Bobby, you know, more than welcome to ask questions, and you know, you want to know anything about him. But so I wanted to ask you, man, who are your influences? Because it's important. I think that obviously every MC has their own flavor and individuality, right? And that's the beauty of being an MC. But for you personally, who are some of your influences? Just coming up as a shorty, obviously listening. Who are some of your MCs that you said, okay, I can put all three of those guys and just make it into my own flavor naturally, you know? Anybody that stands out to you, or growing up that stood out to you? Because there's so many, right? There's so many.
When I was growing up, like, my brother's 5 years older than me, so I was listening to, you know, pre-internet age. Like, I was just listening to what he brought home. So it's kind of funny, because the albums that he was buying at the time was like the perfect, you know, rap 101. So, you know, he'd bring home albums like Capital Punishment, you know, Illmatic, Reasonable Doubt, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, you know, the first Eminem album, Ready to Die. Ready to Die was probably the first album that like got me hooked on rap. But then, you know, timing played a lot into it too, because, you know, the internet exploded when I was like 13 years old, and, you know, Napster comes out, and I'm like, all right, I like Pun, I like Eminem. Who else raps like them? And then, you know, I went down the rabbit hole. I discovered Big L and Chino XL and
Yep.
Razkaz and like Cannabis. Cannabis, I was like a Cannabis, you know, stan when I was
Yes.
like 13, 14. So all of that stuff played into it, man. Those guys, listening to those guys, they taught me the fundamentals. You know, it was listening to albums like Capital Punishment that like really taught me the A, B's, and C's of like, okay, he's doing this. He's, you know, he's not just rhyming the N word. He's rhyming all these words, and you know, there's the
Indeed.
internal rhyme schemes and the way he's flowing. And
Yeah.
you know, once you notice it, you can't not notice it. So I was just a fiend for anybody that had that kind of lyrical style. And then,
Yes.
you know, I went back in time, studied the, you know, the people that came before them. I got into, you know, Rakim and Big Daddy Kane and Cool G Rap. And then, as I got older, like Black Thought became one of my favorite rappers. You know, obviously Method Man's one of my, like to this day, Method Man's like one of my biggest influences. So
Legends, man.
it's
Yeah.
a cauldron of a lot of stuff. But at the same time, I listened to a lot of commercial rap music too.
Okay.
So I was young, and I liked the lyrical stuff, but I wasn't snobby about it, where I was like, okay, anything that's on MTV, anything that's on the radio,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna snub my nose at. And I think that's good because it gave me a balance of both worlds. So, you know, it's just studying everything.
Yeah, balance is important too, man. I mean, balance is important because you never know what you're gonna miss out on, right? When you hear specific tracks that are out now. And so the homie Goy Kicks, I have a sneaker group chat called Sneaker Junkies Worldwide.
Jim,
Yeah, Jim's the homie, man. He's a good dude, and it's a great segue because I just saw his name pop up, and I promised that I was
what up,
gonna
Jim?
mention him. He's a good brother and a good human being. How did you guys link up with that project? How did you guys link up with that?
Me and Jim?
Yeah, with the custom. I know you customize a pair of your kicks, correct?
How did Jim, how do we meet? Now I'm like drawing a blank. I wish I had the shoes he made for me though. They're in storage right now because I'm in the middle of moving. But
Oh, congratulations on congrats.
thank you, man. Yeah, man. Jim's one of the dopest. I mean, if you haven't been to his page, go to D.O.A Kicks
Yes.
on Instagram and look at some of the custom shoes he's made. They're ridiculous.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely. Yeah, for wrestlers, he's done, man, a lot of wrestlers actually. Obviously MCs, Inspector Deck.
Yeah.
A lot of, man, big time.
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Jim just said it. Like I don't know, man. I think just one day I got on his radar. I can't remember. I can't really remember how we connected, but we've been following each other for a couple of years, man. And he just like, it's cool because we kind of see each other doing the same thing. Like every time I turn around, he's elevating and, you know, doing sneakers for like somebody I idolize. And then like, I'll do a song with somebody that he's a fan of. So it's cool, man. Shout out to Jim.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. Shout out, Jimbo. It was a natural connection, you know. And Statik, man, you and Statik together, I gotta say, man, you guys, I like that, man. I like that duo. It's pretty dope, man. Obviously, Statik's production, you got that boom bap flavor, the soulfulness, and just you rhyming over his production. I enjoy it, man. How did you? So, what about Statik? How did you and Statik get together? Because I know Statik is Statik in Jersey or is he in New York?
His studio's in Brooklyn.
Okay,
Again,
in Brooklyn. Okay.
Again, I gotta tip my hat to Shawnee Pizza because Sean used to work at Brooklyn Bowl, and Statik used to come in there a lot, and they had a cordial like relationship. They'd say what's up to each other. They knew each other, and he had been telling Statik about me. And there was one night that there was a J Electronica show. Ooh. And J Electronica does this thing where he usually calls out on stage, is that, you know, is there any MCs in the audience that rap? Oh. And Sean basically like grabbed me by my shirt and pushed me on stage.
Oh,
Like he knew
really?
like the security dudes and was like,
Wow.
"You're going on stage." And I was like, "What?"
He
Before I knew it,
didn't
he
hold
pushed me.
back. He's just
He
like, get in
like
there.
I'm not even exaggerating. Like he pushed me on stage to the point where I would like there's like the spotlight, and I like the spotlight hit me, and like people saw me on stage and went like, "Oh," you know what I'm saying? Like it was like that. So I was like, "All right, there's no turning back now." And there was two other guys that were also on stage. I guess it was like a battle, but not really. Like they just were letting people rap or whatever. And these two dudes rap. I rapped maybe 8 bars. After like the second bar, Jay jumps up and down, like, super surprised, and I got a big crowd reaction.
Wow. Wow.
But I think I was like a little drunk. I only got through like 8 bars, but it was enough to, get the crowd going. And then afterwards, like Jay said some, flattering words about me, and it was just kind of like a crazy moment. And Statik was there.
Wow.
And then so he saw that, and then maybe like 2 weeks later, Sean had been sending him like random songs I've been doing, random freestyles I've been doing, and we basically like linked up, like let's do some music, because I was working on an album at the time.
Yeah.
And I went to work with him at his studio in Brooklyn. We did a song called Walter White, and that was like the first song that we did together. And before the album was finished, we did another song called Blue Eyed Soul. And that's
a nice track. That's a nice track, by the way, the Blue Eyed Soul.
Yeah, and I really liked the vibe on that particular song. So when it came time to do the next project, we had been speaking about doing like an EP together, and that's how the Endless Summer EP came about. And it's like I'm a fan of Statik, just based off the simple fact that he's one of the few producers that is really trying to keep that East Coast, sample based type of rap alive. There's not too many people that, outside of like Alchemist and Preemo and like, what Griselda's doing, like Derringer and those guys, like, those people are pretty few and far between. So I respect what he's doing, and I respect the artists that he works with. And, it was a big cosign for me because, he could work with anybody he wants. And, the fact that he worked with me showed that he respected what I was doing, which was just a huge feather in my cap. So, I went to his studio. He probably played me 250 beats. Every last one of them was dope. And I probably picked 20 out of that and had to narrow it down to 5. And I came back maybe 2 weeks later, and we did the whole project. And that's pretty much how it came about, man. Like it was very quick. We did that project within a month's time.
Wow.
But yeah, man. And then through Statik, I met Neff, who I've done a bunch of work with. I'm actually working on something with him now. So he's been a big supporter. He's always playing my stuff on his show. He looks out for me. So shout out to Statik, man.
Yeah, shout out to Statik Selektah, man. He's been super consistent these past 15 years or more, and he's been dope, man. So congratulations on working with him, and it's an honor.
Thank
because Statik has worked with Nas, he's worked with Black Thought, Pharoah Monch, and you've come a long way. So you got to give yourself a pat on the back as well.
Yeah, I'm a lucky guy. No, listen. That's the thing that's cool about him is he'll do a song with Nas. He'll do a song with, 2 Chainz. He'll do a song with, Black Thought. But then he turns around and kind of extends his hand, and he'll work with somebody like me, like Lou from Paradise, like, Marlon Craft, or like just up and coming people that he respects.
Right.
Yeah. So I like that about him. He's not, this guy that's like, oh, I'm too big to, reach down and help out somebody that is, on the come up.
Yeah, being humble, man, in this industry is so important, man. I think because they should never lose their heads, man. Like you said, just continue to spread love, and there's so many talented people that are still yet to be heard, and give them a chance as well. So I like that you brought that up. You know, that's very important. So
Right.
but yeah, on that Statik album that you did with him, that Moonlight track, man, that's my cut, man. For that's one of my favorite tracks on that EP. It's just smooth, you know. It's
Thank
got
you,
that
bro.
smooth flavor, you know. I enjoy that. And we remember we were talking about earlier, like younger MCs, up and coming MCs. So this, you know, Little D, he's obviously he's not a secret anymore. Little D, and he's so
No.
young. He's 16 years old, but the kid
16.
is 16, and he's ahead of his time. And it's almost like he went into the DeLorean, stayed in the 90s on vacation for like 3 weeks, came
Yeah,
back.
man. He keeps getting better too. He's a lot better than I was at 16.
Man,
That's for sure.
That kid is
He
special.
raps better than a lot of people twice his age.
You absolutely correct, and that's pretty dope that you collabed with him because he was on one of your he was on the album with Statik, correct, with the project.
Yeah, he's on a song called "Swear to God," which actually my boy Neff produced. Neff did 2 bonus tracks on that, so he did "Swear to God" and he did a song called "My People."
Okay.
But yeah, me and Little D, like I've just been a fan of him for a long time. I reached out. He had been aware of me. You know, he was super cool to work with and just a humble kid, keeps getting better. And, you know, I just like what he does because there's no frills about it.
Right.
He's not trying to be anything. He's not like,
right.
He's just a regular ass kid that likes to rap. And like, when I watch what he's doing, I think of myself when I was 15 or 16, because I was the same way. Like you could tell he listens to all of the shit that I grew up on. And I really like that. You know, I like the fact that he's not about like the clout or doing dumb shit on Instagram or whatever.
Right.
Like his following is 100% based on, you know, yo, have you seen how this kid raps? Like all he does is just rap and that's it. So I like that about him because it's authentic and you don't really see that a lot. Usually it's about everything other than the music. Like, let me use all these different antics to get your attention and you don't even know what the music sounds like. So I like that about him.
Yeah, let me jump off a rooftop with no water in the swimming pool like Jackass and let me try to get 1 million views, you know, and it's you're right. It's unfortunate. But yeah, he's a breath of fresh air and he's 16 years old. He's definitely a student of the boom bap era, so and still alive to this day. So and so the Endless Summer album, man, I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I had to revisit that as well because I like to revisit older albums, you know, because music is timeless nonetheless. So there's to me, it's just years and time frames of these albums. You worked with some legends, brother. Kwame.
Yeah, man. Kwame's my oldest, you know, is my oldest connection to music. Really, I met Kwame when I was like 14.
Wow.
So Kwame is you know, a mentor to me. You know, he's like an older brother where, you know, we're pretty much family at this point. But I met him at a really young age. You know, the first time I ever recorded in a real studio was at his crib. He's the first producer I ever worked with. Woo! You know, the first person to teach me how to write a song when all I knew was how to spit 100 bars with no hooks and no concept. So I owe him a lot because, you know, he took me from a young age and molded me and gave me a lot of jewels, man, because he was in a situation as a young kid rapper coming up, and he schooled me on a lot of things. You know, it's not just the making music side. He schooled me a lot about the music industry, just how to move, how to carry yourself. So yeah, man, I've been recording and making music with Kwame since I'm a kid. And, you know, when I put out that Summer Classics album, he did like probably 75% of it, you know, and he raps on it too. So it's like everything I do, whether he's actively producing it or not, like he's executive producer no matter what, because I'm always like, he's my final stamp of approval. You know, if he doesn't like something, I go back and I revisit it. So, you know, shout out to Kwame, man, just legend, absolute legend.
It's phenomenal, man. And we have a legend on with us as well, chiming in on the comments. Danny Boy from House of Pain. That's wow.
Oh shit, man.
Yeah. Oh shit is right.
Absolute legend, man.
Absolute
Absolute
legend. Danny
legend.
Boy, a 1/3 of House of Pain. We appreciate you being on, brother. Thank you. Much love.
Yeah, man. Like again, and that's, you talk about early influences, man. Like I'm Irish. So, seeing House of Pain for the first time, like
Yes.
seeing those guys, rapping at the fucking St. Patrick's Day parade and Rockaway, we have our own St. Patrick's Day parade here. Like, seeing people in the bar, rapping in the camera that you had never seen that before them, Yep. So I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be myself without guys like Everlast and Danny Boy and Lethal, man. So thanks for checking in. You guys are fucking legends, man.
Yeah, this is an honor for them to be, for him to be chiming in. I just copped one of his hats actually. Check out his merch. Check out his merch site. He has some dope hats and some nice House of Pain memorabilia. So check him out. Danny Boy, much love to him. And also Killah Priest, a Wu-Tang affiliate. I mean, that's another Hall of Fame MC. He was also on that project with you. I mean, how do you link up with Priest?
I've known Priest. It's crazy, man. Like it's weird. It's weird how these connections happen, man. Like so much in music is, relationship based. Sometimes it's favors. Sometimes you're paying somebody. In that case, one of my brother's best friends that grew up down the block from me, that lived with my brother when he was living in downtown LA, is just real cool with them. They're like, wow, they're buddies, they're friends. You know what I'm saying? So he was always telling them about my music, and kind of took on a little bit of like a managerial role for a little while with what he was doing. Shout out to my boy Sean, not this Sean I was talking about before. Okay, the other boy Sean.
I got you. All right, shout out to the other Sean. Yeah.
Yeah. So we linked up through him, and yeah, man, like Priest is another guy, man, just like super humble, super down to earth. Just and for him to be as lyrical and incredible of a rapper as he is, to give me a verse on an album when I hadn't even had an album out yet, but he just respected what I was doing and everything that, Sean was showing him, that he just came through on that verse, and his verse is ridiculous. And honestly, like, if you listen to any of his recent projects, like he's easily one of the most underrated. Yes. Doing, like, people don't really mention Priest a lot, and it's crazy because he's fucking incredible. So again, that was like a career highlight for me, man, because I wasn't just a fan of Wu-Tang, I was a fan of the whole extended Wu-Tang family. You know what I mean? So
the affiliates, yeah, the family, yeah.
Yeah, so to have him on a song that Kwame did, like, I look back on that and I'm just like, I'm super proud of that.
Yeah, you're right. Killah Priest is criminally underrated. He's in that category. Criminally underrated, where like Sons of Man, obviously, their albums just dropping science, and he's just like a spiritual dude too, man. He's just you see him, he's just like a peaceful dude, and he's one of a kind for sure, Killah Priest. So
absolutely.
Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and another legend. We'll get to the question. Somebody in the comments got a question for us, but I got Little Fame, the originators of the gunshot. The book. Little Fame of MOP. That's another guy you worked with.
Yeah, man.
Dude.
I don't know, man. I don't know how these things like, you know what I mean? Like, I wish like, something like, it's weird just how, I probably spent a year and a half putting that album together. So just like a lot of random shit happened in between that time. Like, there was times when I thought I was done with the album, and then I ended up scrapping half of it. So just in that time, I ended up meeting Little Fame. And again, man, just like,
that's huge.
The nicest dude in the world, the coolest dude in the world, right? And I was a huge MOP fan, like the Warriors album, Firing Squad.
Yeah.
And especially being like such a premier stan, like I was just such a fan of what they did. And I had that record. I actually had that beat sitting around kind of collecting dust, and I liked it, but I didn't know what I was going to use it for.
Oh.
And then when it came time for us to do the song, I was like, you know what? This is perfect for Fame. Like, I was searching around for other beats, but that one just was like, I don't know if I was just waiting for the opportune moment, but
right.
That was another beat that Kwame produced. I did my part. I did the hook idea. I sent it to him, and I basically told him what I wanted to do with the hook. He sent it right back to me. I remember I was walking down the street, and he called me on FaceTime, and he was in the studio, and he's like, yo, I just did the verse. You want to hear it? I was like, fuck yeah, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Played it.
Right. Is that a trick question?
He's like, plays it. I like shit my pants listening to it because he bodied me. And then I'm like, and then he's like, yo, do you like it? Do you want me to change anything? I'm like, do I like it?
What?
And I'm like, again, this is like the greatest thing ever, you know? So,
yeah,
you know, and then he came and he did the video too, man, which was like, I would have been happy just him doing the verse. So shout out to Fame, man. Legend. And again, another rapper that's just underrated, man. Like, kills everything he does. Kills everything he does. Stays active. Like, he's always putting out new music. Works with Statik a lot. Works with Neff a lot. So, you know, again, man, shout out to him. He's a living legend, in my opinion.
Yeah. And again, I got to stress this. There wouldn't be a Grizzle. There wouldn't be a West Side Gun if there wasn't MOP. MOP were the founders, you know. They were the ones that set the tone for, you know, them as far as that, you know, with the machine gun stuff. So we got to pay homage to the originators, you know, always.
The greatest and the greatest ad-libs of all time.
Yes. I agree with you.
Gotta 100%. Be. The greatest.
The greatest. Thank you for saying that, man. I've gotten into some discussions, you know, with younger cats, but I'm glad you established that. Sorry, we're gonna honor somebody's question. We appreciate the questions coming on right now. Okay, all right. The homie Try, bro. Much love to you, brother. All right. So Try has a question, and it's right there on the bottom, so everybody can see it. All right, Bobby. What's your favorite hip hop album of all time? Okay, good question.
You know what, man? I gotta say Ready to Die, man. Just because it was, you know, Ready to Die. You know, like I could, you know, we could go and have the argument back and forth, like, yeah, this album's better than that. You know, we could talk about albums all day long, but for me, that album resonates with me just because it was the first rap album that I really fell in love with, the first rap album that I knew front to back, that I would play nonstop. And it hit at a real, you know, influential time in my life. I was probably 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah. And
I think it kind of set the tone for everything that I was listening to after that. And then just, you know, in retrospect, I think it's just it's an incredibly produced album. You know, shout out to Easy Mo B, who, again, is a guy that a lot of people don't mention and don't, you know, overlook when they talk about great, you know, hip hop producers of the 90s.
Yes.
But
underrated.
Just an incredibly produced album, an incredibly balanced album, because it has, you know, hardcore street songs, it's got commercial songs, it's got, you know, songs like Unbelievable that are the more underground backpackerish type songs.
Preemo.
Storytelling, like it has everything. It has something for everybody. You know, whereas like an album like Illmatic that I would hold in the same regard, I think
that's mine.
Is, you know, is more skewed towards the underground, and I think, or at least at that time it was.
Right.
And again, that brings me back to what I said before. Like, Ready to Die was accessible. You know, he was smart. Him and Puff were smart to have, you know, the Big Papas on there to contrast the Gimme the Loots. You know what I mean? So that's what drew me in. And then from there, I just kind of went down the rabbit hole. So for me, that's my favorite.
Okay.
Gotta be.
Hey, there's no wrong or right because there's so many classics like you mentioned. So, and that's obviously one of them. And I got to remind you, man, did you get to see that release from the phenomenal? I consider him the Jordan of toys, like sculptured toys. He's phenomenal. Scarchio,
I did. Yeah, I did.
saw that.
I saw a
Beautiful.
bunch of people. He did the Biggie figure, right?
Yeah, man. Oh my God,
Yeah,
it's
that
huge.
was
It's like
ridiculous. It's like
Incredible Hulk.
super realistic too.
Yeah, it's yeah. So that man, he's doing great things, man. Scarchio, and then he's got the Red Man one coming up as well next year. So that tell you that guy's killing it, man. He's really tearing it up in that industry. So for yeah, it's a pretty penny, but definitely worth it, especially when an artist puts his time and effort into it. So you're a Biggie fan, of course. So I just wanted to make sure you saw
Yeah,
it.
I don't know if I could afford that one right now, but
Yeah, I
we'll
know.
see.
Yeah, I know,
I just
right?
want to say what's up to a couple of people. I want to say what's up to Classy Rob G, JMC. What's up, Joni, Dwayne. Who else is in here? Vivian Scott Chu.
Much love.
Thank you for joining. Uh, did I say what's up to Dina Cole? What's
I
up,
don't
man?
think
Shout
so.
out to everybody in the room.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we appreciate everybody being on with us. Once again, the Ball Kid Nostalgic kicking it with Bobby J from Rockaway. He's been doing this thing for a long time, and he's a dope MC, well respected. And again, that Daru Jones album, you and him, it's just I love it, man. It's just it just reminds me of the Roots, because of Black Thought and Malik B with the live band. It just had that feel good feeling, and it had some rock elements too. You know what I mean? Like some nice hitting
Yeah,
rock
well,
elements.
that's the blueprint, man. Like Black Thought and Black Thought rapping over Questlove drums,
Yep,
was obviously in
yep,
the back of my mind. And again, like Black Thought's one of my favorite rappers.
yep.
If you've ever heard a song called Web by the Roots, that's probably my top three verses of all time. And that was, that's like something I listen to just for inspiration on a daily or weekly, monthly basis. Like if I haven't heard anything new that's like making me get out of my seat, I put that on for inspiration. So
Yeah,
yeah, clearly the Roots and Black Thought and what they do was, in the back of my mind while I was making that album.
absolutely. And we love and appreciate it. All right, so as I like to do with every guest, Bobby, I like to do with every guest. I just like to keep everybody on their toes, and it's fun. It's fun. Um, Dead or alive. All right, dead or alive. Three. Okay, it could be a producer. It could be an MC. It can be a DJ. It can be a breakdancer. Anybody in the elements of hip hop that Bobby J from Rockaway would say, okay, if there's three dead or alive, if they reached out to you this weekend and said, let's get a project going. Anybody that comes to mind, because you've mentioned a couple guys already. You've mentioned Biggie. We've talked Black Thoughts, but in your head, anybody else that you would want to work with that you've never worked with, or of course that's not presently here in the physical?
It would probably be producers, honestly.
Okay, that's good. I like that. Yeah.
I mean, Rick Rubin,
Ooh, yes.
Preemo,
Ooh, yes.
and fuck. See, it's always well.
Yes, that's
Let's
nice.
see.
I mean, so far you got a
Let's
great
see.
list.
The because it's like you said it could be anybody, but you know
Anybody?
what? I'm just really into what producers do and like what makes them different and how they get different results. How one artist can work with a different producer and it sounds completely different, and it's all every producer has their own style. So it's got number one, Rick Rubin. Like Rick Rubin is. I have a painting of him on my wall. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
so that's my number one guy.
Phenomenal.
Preemo and probably Dr. Dre, man.
Hey, that's a great choice. That's a great choice. And there's a lot of balance there because Dr. Dre with that West Coast, the G-Funk bounce, and Dr. Dre is he's got those secret drums that he doesn't tell anybody about.
I just want to see. I just want to see how the sauce is made. That's really what it is. Like I want to peek behind the curtain because it's like, Rick Rubin is more of the like Phil Spector type of guy. You know, he's not necessarily the guy who's playing the drum machine or whatever, but he's produced he's done everybody from LL to Johnny Cash to Slayer to Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, his range as a producer is so ridiculous, and he gets such a insane product out of people. It's like, I want to know what the secret is, you know? And then Preemo is just like, Preemo's the soundtrack to my life. And you know, every rap song that I ever, you know, fell in love with was produced by Preemo. And then again, Dre is kind of, you know, between both of them, because Dre makes beats. Dre is a producer in the traditional sense, where he's going to get the best vocal performance. He's going to assemble the greatest musicians and the best engineers. And it's like, his final product is going to sound not only is he going to get the best performance out of you, the end result, the way sonically it sounds, is going to shit on everybody else's stuff. So, you know, it's like, I just want to peek behind the curtain. You know what I mean? It's not even about necessarily like what we're going to make. Like, it's just, I'm a student, so I want to study, you know, the masters at work. So.
Yeah, you want, like, he's a scientist. You want to see what the scientist is doing behind his lab and just peek and say, oh, that's how you did that. That's how you make all that magic happen, you know?
Yeah, man. Like, it's funny, like, I bring up Rick, and like over the pandemic, everybody was on Clubhouse, right? So I remember I was in a Clubhouse room, and Sir Mix-a-Lot was in the room, and I got the chance to talk to Sir Mix-a-Lot. And you know, Rick signed Sir Mix-a-Lot. Like, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that.
Fun fact.
You know, he put out Baby Got Back, and he put out Mac Daddy under Def American, which was Rick's label after Def Jam. And I just remember asking him, I was like, yo, like, what does Rick do, man? Like, what is his production style like? Because you hear stories from people like, you know, he's very hands off. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't really, you know, interfere with the creative process. But then when he comes in and gives his opinion, it changes the whole story. You know what I'm saying? Like, when he worked on the Yeezus album, like, he just took shit away.
Right.
You know, and it was just great to talk to him. And he was like, yo, like, there was one song I did, and he told me, you know, embrace the silent elements. And all he meant was just, you know, you have this big energetic song, leave space for breaks and drops at opportune moments. And he's like, yo, he just told me, like, where to put drops in this song. And it sounds like it wouldn't make much of a difference, but it changed the whole dynamic of the record when it was done. So, you know, that type of shit fascinates me. You know what I mean? I'd love to see that in action.
That's dope insight, man. Rick Rubin is obviously a genius. And so the homie Triborough, he mentioned, and I'm glad he just reminded me. Thanks, Tribe. I have a segment called Mix and Match. It's been very popular, man. A lot of people are getting into it. It's started this about 13 weeks ago. We're already on almost episode 14. It's called Mix and Match. So basically, I'll get when you have some free time. I know you're moving. Basically, I have the homie Triborough on and another friend, Brad, and I try to get other people in so everybody gets in. It's a fantasy football of your own customized pick. So, for example, I'll throw one out in my head right now. Bobby J from Bobby J and the Beatnuts, produced by Preemo. Or, you know, Al Green and Elvis featuring the Far Side. Wild stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun because you challenge yourself and you take it to the limit. And it's cool because it could be any genre. And hip-hop is mostly the theme of it, but it's mix and match. So there's no right or wrong. It's your imagination. So I would love to have you on at some point, man, when you're situated with the moving as a guest on Mix and Match. And it's usually 4 people total. And we'll basically run down our list. It's 15 each. We're cutting it down to 10 because, you know.
Let's do it. Shout out to Words. What's up, Words?
Yes.
Who else is in there?
Oh, yeah. Much love. Absolutely.
DJ Drop. What's up?
Yeah, much love.
White Owl, what's up?
Yeah, we appreciate everybody rocking with us. You know, it's been great, you know, and you're a humble dude, man. Try definitely, you know, he told me you're a humble dude, and I see that, you know, just in your music.
Likewise, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you, my brother. I appreciate you. So yeah, man, once you're settled in and getting them, and congratulations on the move once again. Once you're situated,
Thank you.
it'll be dope to have you on as a guest for Mix and Match. It would be interesting to get your list of collabs. Again, you can go anywhere. You could literally go like underground with mainstream. It's Mix and Match for a reason, you know? So,
yeah, I'm glad I'm not on the spot because like the wheels are already turning in my head, but I don't even know what I would say at this point.
oh no, not at all. No, yeah. Well, the cool thing is, you know, everybody prepares themselves, and then you literally you can take the time and write your list, and then we'll schedule it like 2 days later, so you have plenty of time to soak it in, the thoughts, you know. So
Let's do it, man.
that sounds good. All right, Try. You heard the man, so it's official tissue. All right, Bobby, before we bounce out, man, is there anybody special in your life, or just anybody in general? It could be your friends, your family, or just you know, people that you've been rocking with on a consistent everyday basis that you want to shout out. Any special people in your life that you want to, you know, shout out?
Of course. I want to shout out my manager, Greg, before anybody, because he's been rocking with me since I'm 15 years old. You know, like he was the first person to like discover me and kind of take on a role as a manager. And like without him, man, like he really is like you know, what you see, everything you see that I do is the result of basically a two-person team. I want to shout out Sean as well. You know, he's done everything he can in his power to hook me up with whoever he can, introduce me to whoever he can. You know, if it wasn't for my friends and the people that believed in what I was doing, you know, none of this would be possible, because I'm a good artist. I'm not a good marketer. I'm not good at hitting up people and getting articles written about me and things like that. Like there's a whole science and technical skill and talent to that a lot of people that just see the final product, they have no idea how any of this stuff happens. You know, like
Wow.
People think shit just comes out of thin air, and it doesn't. And you know, even just to do it on an indie level and the level that I'm doing it at, it requires so much work and time and
Yes.
patience and building relationships. And like what people see is the result of like damn near, you know, 15 to 20 years of behind the scenes, like just relationship building and trial and error. So, you know, I could never do what those guys do, man. I could never do what Greg does. And like, you know, I almost feel bad that I'm the artist he represents, because, you know, with his talent, if he had somebody that was like an A-list celebrity, they'd be a fucking billionaire by now. But yeah, man, Greg, definitely want to shout out Greg. I want to shout out Sean. I want to shout out Kwame. I want to shout out my boy Hush that I'm about to put a project out with.
Shout out to Hush.
Daru, Statik, Neff, you know, all the DJs that play my music, man. Like there's literally 3 to 4 that play my shit all the time, like DJ Wonder, Statik, you know, Eclipse, and those guys play my shit. Preemo's played my shit a couple times. Like, if you've ever heard my stuff on the radio, it's usually on one of those 4 shows, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And like a lot of those guys are fucking legends, especially Preem. Like that's bucket list shit right there.
My
so
goodness. Yeah,
you know, without the DJs playing it, like that wouldn't, you know, I'd be nothing. And just everybody who follows and cares enough about what I'm doing, man. Like the fact that I'm able to put stuff out and have an audience is extremely cool, man. Like I remember when nobody was listening. So, you know, it's a constant grind and it's always building, but you know, I have a nice little audience now. So, you know, everybody that tunes in, whether it's to an Instagram post or
right.
they're streaming it, like all that stuff counts. So thank you. And then last but not least, I want to shout out my wife, Michelle. She's in the other room.
Much love.
She puts up with me making music at night and keeping the whole house up, you know, and supports what I'm doing. There's not a lot of, you know, girlfriends, wives, or partners that get, you know, the creative process, or like what it's like to try and be a musician and balance it with like work and regular life. So she's amazing and supports everything I do. So
That's amazing. God bless your wife, man. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing when you have somebody holding you down, and just it's a beautiful thing, man. Man, we appreciate everybody being on, and yeah, for everybody to check out Bobby J from Rockaway. He's been doing his thing. He's a student of the boom bap culture and just hip hop as a whole, and he's been doing it. He's been doing it well. Man, I wanna thank you for being on with me, my brother. Man, you've been you're a good brother. I like your energy, and very humble, and that's important, man. And stay great. Keep making dope music. We'll be definitely following your path along the way. So, and we'll keep in touch for that mix and match coming up too. So,
sure, man. Just let me know.
for sure.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
my
you,
brother.
man. Appreciate
Have a
it.
blessed one, okay?
Later, man.
All
Peace.
right, later. Peace. All right, there it is. All right, everybody. For everybody that's not following SlickBlast RapCast, please give me a follow. Again, I've only been doing this for 4 months. I've been into hip hop for what, 30 plus years, more than I'm 41. So yeah, it's I appreciate it. Thank you for that track. Kind words. I appreciate everybody saying it was a great. Thank you, Rubik's One, Show Respect, all the gentlemen with the compliments. That means a lot. I'm grateful for that. And again, you know, I'm here to display all the dope MCs, the current MCs, obviously past, present, and current. And man, I appreciate all you guys. You know, blessings to everybody that's on, that was on with me and Bobby J from Rockaway. I'm greatly appreciative of you guys. Scorpio, you already know the dilly, fellow gem heads. Yeah, be on the lookout. You're my idol, bro. Great interviews. I love you, Try. You're my brother. Be on the lookout. Special guest Afro. We're finally gonna seal the deal. Afro, one of the best MCs, one of the best young MCs of this new school generation. Afro. I'm gonna have him on Thursday. Okay, so everybody, please tune into that. I will give you a time. I believe he said 5:30 his time, 7:30 my time. Okay. Yes, Afro. You already know Afro, already the rugged man's disciple. I mean, this kid is phenomenal. So, Scorpio, thank you, my brother. So yeah, so tune into Afro. I'm gonna have him on. We did a Zoom conversation a couple months ago. He's a really good kid, and he's a phenomenal talent. He's definitely my favorite from the young guys. He's my favorite MC when it comes to the newer generation. He's just a special kid. So yeah, Afro on Thursday. And then Monday, all flows reach out is correct. And then Monday, another legend from Cincinnati. You remember that song from Mood, Karma? Main flow of Mood, a Hall of Fame MC. I'm gonna have him on Monday. Okay. So once again, give SlickBlast RapCast a follow if you haven't. I appreciate the support. Man, God bless y'all, right? I'm the Ball Kid Nostalgic, and this is SlickBlast RapCast. Until Thursday, y'all. Peace.